Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on the insurance industry to show you how tech companies are, well, secretly graded. And it's a process that says a whole lot more about the health of their business and the safety of your data than you probably think.
You know, it really feels like every other week another major tech company, Amazon, Meta, Google, you name it, is in the headlines facing some new, massive lawsuit. But have you ever stopped to wonder what is really going on here? Why is this a constant legal battle?
Well, it turns out these lawsuits are all centered on a completely new landscape of risks. We're talking about everything from how our data gets collected and used, sometimes without us even knowing, to the huge privacy questions around AI and even the basic reliability of the tech that pretty much powers our entire world.
And for every single one of these high-stakes lawsuits, you can bet there's an insurance company somewhere in the background asking a really simple but really expensive question. How could this have been prevented? This whole situation has created a critical role inside the industry designed to answer exactly that.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're talking about the Tech Errors and Omissions Underwriter, or just Tech E&O for short. Now, errors and omissions is really just the formal way of saying insurance for when your tech messes up and ends up costing a client money. So think of these underwriters as risk detectives. Their entire job is to dig deep into a tech company's guts to figure out its potential for making mistakes and ultimately to decide if it's even insurable at all.
And this is definitely not guesswork. They follow a very structured process. They kick things off by reviewing the company's application, then they dive deep into its biggest risks and its contracts. And only after all that digging do they even begin to think about setting the terms of a policy. It's like a methodical hunt for any potential liability.
So here's the most important part, understanding how they actually grade your business. What are they looking for? Well, it really boils down to a few core areas that make up their final scorecard.
And this is what's really interesting. A whopping 40% of the entire evaluation is focused on the company's data ecosystem, basically how it handles information. Yeah, strong contracts and security are critical, but how you handle your data is by far the biggest piece of the puzzle for them.
First off, they're going to put your client contracts under a microscope. Strong contracts have these crystal clear clauses that limit your liability and define exactly what you're on the hook for. Weak contracts, though, they often have no liability caps or a really vague scope of work, which basically just leaves the door wide open for incredibly expensive legal fights. Next up is your security posture. And listen, they are not interested in promises. They want to see cold, hard proof. Are you using the basics like multi-factor authentication and data encryption? Have you actually tried to break into your own systems with penetration tests? Because for an underwriter, a company with an untested incident response plan is a massive red flag. But let's circle back to that big 40%, the data ecosystem. This is where the real investigation happens. Underwriters will literally map out your entire data life cycle. What sensitive info are you collecting? Where is it being stored? Who has access to it? And so critically, how are you sharing it with other companies? And how do you get rid of it when you're done? Every single one of those points is a potential point of failure.
So let's see how all this grading actually applies out in the wild. Because these risks are not one size fits all, and underwriters have to tailor their whole approach for different sectors like
companies building with artificial intelligence, a space where the rules are literally being written as we speak.
Or the super high-stakes world of financial technology, where just one tiny coding error could make millions of dollars just vanish.
And of course, the backbone of modern business, software as a service, where uptime and reliability are absolutely everything.
And this table just breaks down those unique dangers so perfectly. For an AI company, the biggest fear isn't just a server going down. It's that a biased algorithm leads to a massive discrimination lawsuit, or maybe a copyright claim over its training data. For a fintech, it's all about stopping payment fraud and navigating this dense maze of financial rules, where the penalties can be just brutal. And for a SaaS provider, a big service outage doesn't just annoy users, it can trigger a whole wave of lawsuits from clients who are claiming lost revenue. So the core ideas of risk are the same, but the battlegrounds, they're completely different.
So why should any of this matter to you? Well, because understanding this whole process is about so much more than just getting an insurance policy.
You see, this isn't just some underwriter's checklist. It's literally the blueprint for building a more responsible, a more resilient, and a more defensible business from the ground up. These are the things that make a company truly strong, not just insurable.
So the final takeaway is this.
Looking at your own company through the eyes of a tech underwriter is one of the best stress tests you could ever perform. It reveals your true operational strengths, and maybe more importantly, it shines a super bright light on your hidden weaknesses before they become the subject of your own headline-grabbing lawsuit.